Legs. Sort of intro is that. I'm sorry, it's very late at night when I'm doing this. Right, so this was American Black Walnut. This is from Tyler Hardwoods in the UK. Special thing about these legs, you might not have noticed, but they're actually attached to the carcass at 45 degrees. This has numerous benefits. I can only remember one of them being that whatever angle you look at it from, there's always going to be an angle on the legs. So look, you look at it diagonally, front on, you can always see that curve. And this was something that I learnt from a talk from James Ryan from the Edward Barnsley workshop when he came to the college. It's actually very easy to do, very easy. But to the untrained eye, you know, it looks very interesting and complicated. So, you know, you can play that one off quite easily. So I'm just getting 2 edges on these long slabs square. I'm only doing them rough for now because I'm going to let them rest for a while because of moisture changes from the sawmill to the workshop. It's going to be quite drastic, so I don't want to get them to final size now and then find out they look like spaghetti after I'm done with them. So oh, by the way, if any of you are on Instagram, so am I. Go find me on there because I post quite regularly, so you'll see a lot of my behind the scenes content and stuff in my story about updates and editing and things. Oh, this was quite funny. Look, the tension in the wood pinched it on the riving knife, so it's always good to get someone on the opposite end who can smash a block of cheese in the end and wedge it out a bit. So yeah, that was incredibly handy. Thank you, Zach. But that was difficult to push through. Very difficult. So now I'm just planing those edges down again. I planed the first edge so I could have it rest against the ripsaw fence quite nicely. So now I'm doing the face edge and face side. And then get them rested in the mill overnight. Not overnight, I think that was for a week I left them there actually, just to be sure. And then once that was all done, get them replaned and thicknessed down to their final dimensions. So now I'm just choosing the prettiest timber for the front and the most disgusting timber for the back. That was the most disgusting bit. And then to mark on the 45 degrees, could have done it straight on the table saw, but I always like to have a visual aid when I do things like this. So using a marking gauge, I can get a central line along the length of each of them. Get the table saw set up to cut the 45 degrees roughly. So this was going to be cut about 1 mil or 2 over size on this. That macro, man. And this kicks up a lot of dust, so always good to wear a face mask. And notice how I'm cutting off the sapwood here, because, you know, if I'm going to be cutting off the material, I might as well remove the horrible stuff. So, and there's one side done, and then cutting off the other bit of sapwood. So this means that all the horrible stuff will be faced on the inside, and you won't see it as prominently as the rest of it. So obviously the table saw leaves a bit of a rough finish, so getting a mitre block on the spindle moulder solves that. Get a lovely clean finish, almost good enough to joint straight off, but not quite good enough. Wrench that down, and then with a power feed set up, I could get that passing through automatically, which is always good. Have a cup of tea on the side. I didn't do that. How irresponsible of me. So then I had a bit of timber that was the exact same thickness as the plywood, the veneered plywood, so plywood and veneer either side. And I had to cut a flat spot on the apex. Is it the apex? I think it might be the word for it. But that would basically stop me getting a 90-degree corner at the back of the cabinet and allow it to be a nice 45 degrees. The front legs had to be a slight angle because of the way the doors were curved inwards. It's not actually a 90-degree edge. It was like 13 or something weird like that. So I cut that roughly on the dimension saw and then just planed that by hand. That little line on the end is not my final marking line. That was just a rough mark. So then I made a template for the legs, just marking a parallel line using a marking gauge. That would get me a consistent thickness from top to bottom. And then because I'm quite bad, I don't usually ask for help, so I just do stupid things like this all the time. This is my way of holding a ruler so you can bend it without the aid of another human being. 2 anchor points, slot the ruler in, another one, pop it on there, there you go, you've got a set of equal to 4 hands with minimal human interaction. Speaking of interaction, if you want to talk to me on Twitter, there is the place to do it. Estlea Furniture, at Estlea Furniture, sorry. Okay, and with that all marked out with a pencil, I could get that cut back to the rough shape with a bandsaw. Then on the external curse, I used my block plane to refine it, and internal ones I used a spoke shave. Absolute blasphemy using these tools on MDF, I know, but you can resharpen them, so I don't see... There's no issue with it. If you can resharpen things, it's fine. It's fine. Then to get a parallel edge with the external curve, I used a marking gauge to score a small line, and then you can use that small little groove to put a pencil in it, and there you go, you get a lovely mark. And then spoke shave that external to match it. Now here is a neat trick. If you ever have a template that can't rest directly on the timber, plane a pencil in half and then look. Marks around the template perfectly with no offset, so you can't move under the template, you can't move away from it because it's resting on that flat edge. It's not something I thought I made it up, and then I googled it and I realised that someone else had already done it. I was like, damn it! Should have made a half pencil company. I've got double profits. Wait, no, what am I talking about? So now cutting legs to their final, it's not final, rough sizes or rough shapes. Then using a large flush trim bit, I could get that cut back to the template. In reality, it would be better to use a spindle mould of this and a more substantial jig, but the spindle mould was being used. And this is a very sharp cutter, and it's got a downward shear on it as well, so you get an even cleaner cut. It would be a bit wary doing this if it was a blunt cutter or if it was slightly old, so watch out for that. But that was a new cutter, so it was a relatively good finish on that. And then cracking out the spoke shaves, refine that back, get it nice and clean if there was any tear out. These spoke shaves are from H&T Gordon, which is a company in Australia. Those of you who watched my previous video, I said that you can go on my website and see any of the tools that I use if you have any questions. I'll link that page in a card above. Hopefully again I'll remember to do it. But you can look at any tool that I use, all the equipment, power tools included, if you have any questions, and I've got small reviews written below each of them as well and what I use them for. So yeah, have a look there if you've got any questions about anything. If not, ask me on Twitter or Instagram or something like that. So that's all the legs done. Next week, focus on jointing the panels and the legs together and start making it to look like a cabinet. So yeah, we'll see you then.